Your strengths. Getting really specific. Sometimes there is a value to being the jack of all trades. Some say that specialization is for insects, and that there is no reason not to become the Homo universalis, who has multiple abilities in lots of different areas. Of course, having this kind of varied approach has its uses. It means that you can combine lots of different ideas into one new concept. Most ideas are simply recombinations of disparate ideas. And at the same time, it means that you will be more versatile and able to adapt to a variety of different challenges. But at the same time, there is a lot of value to being very good at just one thing, too. When you're very good at one thing, it then means that you can put all your energy into that one thing. You can then become better than you would otherwise possibly be able to. But from a business perspective, that also simplifies things. It means you don't have to multitask, and it means you can market yourself as being the very best in your field. Most people look for services and businesses to solve one problem. And if you're the very best at that one thing, then you'll always have a great value to offer. Simply put, having a single strength allows you to become the best. And it gives you laser accuracy for where you want to invest your marketing, your development, and your research. Being the best. Perhaps you already know what your strength is. Maybe it's gymnastics. Maybe it's writing. Maybe it's science. But can you really be the very best at that one thing? The answer is probably not. Sure, someone is probably the best writer, but that's a pretty vague term as it is. The solution, which makes sense from both a business perspective and a personal one, is to get more specific. In other words, become the very best at some aspect of writing. For instance, you might decide instead of being the best writer, you will be the fastest writer. Or maybe you'll be the best fitness writer. Or the best writer for articles on abs. This is a very specific niche, but it allows you to now become the biggest fish in your pond, and that has a lot of advantages. So if you're struggling to profit from your strength, ask yourself how you can get more specific with what it is you do. Top ways to identify your strengths. All of us have unique strengths and unique weaknesses. This is part of what makes us unique, and it's what makes teamwork so important in a working environment. This way, it's possible to leverage the individual strengths of multiple different people in order to create one well-oiled machine. The problem is, though, that many of us actually don't know our own strengths. Many of us are a little too close to ourselves in order to step back and objectively analyze our own skills. Our ego kicks in, or our self-doubt, and this prevents us from finding out what we're really good at. So how do you find where your strengths really lie? Ask people. One trick is just to ask people what they think your strengths are. While you shouldn't take the word of one person as verbatim, once you start noticing patterns emerge, then you can probably safely assume there is some truth to what is being said. If everyone is saying they think you're well organized and great at drawing, then those are probably your skills. Look at your experience. Another way to find your skills is to look at your own experience. Not always, but often our strengths are a direct result of the experience we have, and if you have spent a lot of time in a particular career path, chances are you'll have picked up some specific abilities related to that. Look at your experience then, and there's a good chance your strengths will be in accord. Assess your weaknesses. Another good way to find your strengths is to look at your weaknesses. That is to say, that as you eliminate the things you're bad at, it should leave the things you're good at. Look at your own career. Let's say you're a web designer. Do you work better with the code, with the layout, or with the artistic part? Which of these is your skill, and which is the weak link? Look at what you love. As a general rule, we tend to enjoy doing the things we're very good at. So if you want to know what you're good at, Try to spot the times when you're the most engaged and the most switched on. Try lots of things. You know, there is a good chance that the thing you're good at is something you haven't even considered yet. That's why it's important to broaden your experiences, so you can better find more strengths and skills. How to tease out and nurture your strengths. Our strengths and skills are in many ways our most important assets. All of us invest in ourselves as our primary way of making money and forming the lifestyles that we want. As such, it is crucial that we nurture our skills and abilities so that we can increase our value and have a lifestyle closer to the one we've always dreamed of. The problem is that many of us don't know just how valuable we are. All of us are highly adaptable creatures with a huge number of different skills and abilities and the potential to learn a huge number of others. Unfortunately, we all too often miss our own potential and as such, never get to cash in on those strengths. As an example, let's imagine that David Beckham never tried kicking a football. He might have found a career as a chef and been perfectly happy, but he certainly didn't cash in on his full value, did he? What if you have a skill like that and you're currently just sitting on it? What if you're your own golden goose? Finding your hidden skills. The first thing you need to do is identify your hidden potential and do it as early on as possible. How do you do this? By having as many experiences as possible. Take the attitude that you should join every class, visit every country, and have a go at every job. That way, if you are the next David Beckham, you'll be more likely to discover your football. At the same time, you need to keep challenging yourself. If you aren't challenging yourself, you won't be able to test yourself, and you won't be forced to rise to meet the challenge. We only perform our best when the stakes are up. So look at every challenge at work or in your private life as a chance to test your skills. Finally, surround yourself with people who can help you identify that talent. Don't just have a round of golf. Play with a teacher who can tell you if you have some hidden skill. Nurturing your strengths. What do you do if you find that you are a musical prodigy? Simple. You practice. When you find something you are a little good at, you have found some kind of genetic predisposition. In order for you to maximize this, though, you need to create the right environment and circumstances to capitalize on that skill. This is the stress diathesis approach to psychology, and it's a great way to uncover and develop your skills. The value of playing to your strengths. If you've landed in a job that you're not particularly passionate about, or that you don't truly love, then that doesn't mean you won't be happy. It might well be that you've been working away happy enough, earning a decent wage, and seeing enough rewards from it to support your family. But does that mean you should be complacent? Does that mean you should give up on branching out to find where your real skills and enthusiasm lie? Certainly not. Read on, and we'll look into the value that comes from playing to your real strengths. What happens when we play to our strengths? Most of us have a few key abilities that we're amazing at. And, for most of us, those are the things we love. We're good at these things because we love them and spent more time practicing, and we love them because we're so good. As a result, when we work on that ability or strength, everything about our demeanor changes. For starters, we become much more focused on what we're doing. That's because we find it important and fun, and as a result, our brains produce dopamine and catecholamine hormones to keep us fixated. This is what some circles refer to as flow states. At the same time, we are of course much happier and more confident because we're doing what we love. That means we feel motivated and we become much less likely to take breaks. All of this, of course, means that we perform to our very best. We're performing well anyway because we're doing the thing that we're really good at. But at the same time, we're more focused, we're happier, we're more motivated, and we're in flow. All that means that we're now going to produce better work that gets us noticed and that gets us promoted. We'll earn more and perform better because we're doing what we love. Signs you're playing to your strengths. All these are the benefits of playing to your strengths, and they can also act as telltale signs that you're doing what you love. Ask yourself, when was the last time you felt completely focused on a project? That you found it highly rewarding? That you worked so hard you ended up holding your need to go to the toilet? Yeah, you should start doing a lot more of that. What if your strength is something you don't enjoy doing? Often we're told to find our strengths and learn what we're good at, as though that will automatically answer all of our problems and help us to become super successful and happy. It's a nice idea, but unfortunately, it's not always that simple. Sometimes, of course, it's hard to know what your strength is, which means you can end up spending a great deal of time searching for it, while letting your abilities go to waste. But worse is if you do know what your strength is and it's not something you enjoy doing. What if you're fantastic at math, but you hate doing math? Strengths we don't love. A common mistake that many people make is to go after a job that they love the sounds of. That's because it's in an industry they find fascinating, and it's well paid, and they're passionate about it. But that's no good if it's also something you don't enjoy on a day-to-day basis. The problem is that sometimes our skills and abilities don't line up with the things that we really enjoy doing. And in that case, we can end up feeling almost forced into a life of something that we're going to find dull. What then? How to adapt your strengths. There are a few different options in this case. One option is to look for another strength you might have. Very few of us have just one major skill and no others. So if you look for other things you're good at, you might find that you can still enjoy yourself. Then again, you could always combine your different strengths into one new and unique strength, which might just result in something truly creative and unique as well. Another thing to do is look at a new way to use that strength. For instance, if you're good at math, but you hate math, then a good strategy is to think how else you might use this ability. How about writing a book on math? That way, you share your strength, but what you're actually doing is creative writing. Or, how about making mathematical drawings? Perhaps you could create a computer game. Programming has strong elements of math involved. Finally, you can consider learning a new strength. It's never too late to learn and never too late to grow. We are not prisoners to our own abilities.